Hey there, this is Teddy coming to you from down in my record room, where this is a tip of the cap to bigstar1000. Fred, congratulations, man, on your 4th anniversary of making your first video for YouTube. And I'm sure, like many, you were one of the first that I encountered showing records and discussing the music. And that's what drew me to your channel, was the discussion. The background, the research that you put into it, your knowledge base, and an immensely eclectic collection. I may not be into everything that you show, but that's not the point. The point is that there is a discussion, and that's what keeps bringing me back to your channel. So again, congrats. I don't normally participate in threads or contests, but this one was so deceptively simple, yet full of amazing beauty, really. And so I wanted to dive in. So let's get to it. Actually, first, if we want to talk about the face, let's take a look at the face of the man of the hour. Of course, here he is today, the fuzzy, woolly professor, bespectacled and just a noggin full of knowledge. And let's take a quick look back 4 years ago. Wow, everything's clean. Your face, your room. Wow, Fred. Yeah, shit happens. Anyway, let's get on with the matter at hand. Faces for Fred. Well, the first one is the most obvious for me. It's called Facing You. Keith Jarrett piano. This is Keith Jarrett's first effort for the ECM label in 1972. Great recording, and there he is in glorious black and white. I'm actually going to do these covers in 3 sections: black and white covers, color covers, and then colors of artistic interpretation. So more black and white. I showed this album before, Bill Dixon, Intents and Purposes. Love the dark, eerie density of this cover, and it's so evocative of the music. 1967 RCA, and I dare say that not only the music, or at least Bill Dixon's trumpet playing, but this cover had a little bit of influence on Miles Davis and In a Silent Way. Always loved this cover. Yusef Lateef, Gentle Giant on Atlantic, 1972. Just love the close-up, ultra grainy, textural feel of this cover. Yeah, just dig it. Hollerin'. This is an early Rounder Records release in the mid-70s. And it is exactly what it says. It's people from the country doing their hollers, whether they're hollering for an animal, an animal call, whether they're hollering to each other from one farm to another, or a distress call if they're out in the woods and are lost. And it was a form of communication that was common. And this is a recording of in the 1970s of people doing their hollers. And I'm telling you what, you can just feel the nose hairs. A beautiful comedy album by a beautiful artist, Woody Allen. And just absolutely loved this 1964 cover. And it just perfectly illustrates, the nebbish irony of the comedy of Woody Allen. Just a gorgeous photograph. John Hartford, Aeroplane. This is a bluegrass album from 1971 on RCA. John Hartford basically hit the artistic lottery. He wrote the song Gentle on My Mind, which Glenn Campbell recorded, and so Hartford never really had to worry about where his next meal was going to come from again, and was able to approach music the way he wanted to from that point forward. And he wanted to bring pretty much full-blown bluegrass to the burgeoning hippie generation. So this is arguably the first album that is the exponent of what would become known as newgrass, where you took hardcore bluegrass and sort of merged it with the back to the country hippie aesthetic. Very cool. If you've never heard John Hartford, I urge you to check it out. Very monotone and very witty, sardonic writing. I dig it very much. Blues. Mississippi, Fred McDowell. Somebody keeps calling me. This is on Antilles. I forget the year. 76 or 77. This came out after kind of had a break on Capitol with I Don't Play No Rock and Roll, but I love the stogie, the tie. It's just the hat, just gorgeous stuff. This is where they take vintage photography and use it to its advantage. Ma Rainey, one of the early blues empresses, she and Bessie Smith were two of the biggest blues stars, and was when blues was beginning to be recorded in the early 1920s. It was the women and more of a vaudeville type approach. This is a compilation on Milestone Records, and God, you just got to dig it. One of my favorite covers, period. Book of White, great blues musician. This is called Parchment Farm. It's a Columbia release, but it's a reissue of 78 recordings that Alan Lomax did in the late 30s, 1940s. But I just love the lines and living, and just there's a certain serenity to this cover that I really dig. Probably shown before by someone else, but Joe Zawinul, the great keyboardist, came up playing with Cannonball Adderley and then Miles, and then founded Weather Report with Wayne Shorter. Also composed in a silent way. And he does it as well on this album. It's Atlantic from 1971. Yep, 1971. But just love that cover too. Very iconic Richard Avedon photograph. Bookends Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, it's just as iconic of an album cover as they come. But this is, wow, it's just such a great album from 1968. Mrs. Robinson is on here and others, but very cool. Can't Get Away Without a Baby. Keith and Donna Godshaw, Keith was a keyboardist that replaced Pigpen in the Grateful Dead after he passed away, and his wife Donna. This is on Round Records, which was a Grateful Dead company release. They put out side projects for a little while. This is 1975, one of their earlier releases. And last on the black and white, we go a little abstract with Public Image, second edition. What I really wished I had was where this was originally released, a metal canister called Metal Can. But I dig the surreal portrait going on here. Let's move on to color. Probably not expecting this one for me, but Marlene Dietrich. This is Marlene Dietrich at Cafe de Paris. This is a Columbia release, and just love just the gorgeous photography of Marlene Dietrich, who was an early film star, but also liked to sing in clubs. And it's not singing per se; it's more spoken word with a broken sort of German accent. If you think Nico and the Velvet Underground, or later day Marianne Faithfull, it's that kind of husky, foreign spoken word type thing. Very cool. Staring You Down, Robert Gordon. Robert Gordon with Link Wray. This was kind of new wave rockabilly king, with the great grungy guitar master Link Wray. But yeah, we're going to get into a little series of people looking right at you. Sandy Denny was Sandy, the great voice, Fairport Convention tragic figure, but just a beautiful voice, beautiful album. Yeah. Jonathan Richman did The Modern Lovers, Looking at You. Jonathan Richman, this is on Berserkly Records. This was their second album. Jonathan Richman, the very naive, quirky, humorist, but also just, great lover of simple rock and roll and pure New England. Yeah, love that cover. Yoko Ono Fly. Yes, I dig Yoko Ono. I have no problems with saying that. Her avant-garde leanings, obviously play into my wheelhouse. So, yeah, I dig Yoko. David Johansen, eponymous album, his first solo album after leaving the New York Dolls. Maybe that's why you don't recognize him. Here he is, without his makeup. The great angelic voice of Emmylou Harris. This is Luxury Liner from 1977. Here's Emmylou Looking at You. Of course, she was kind of brought to everyone's attention by Graham Parsons. Did duets with Graham on his solo recordings, and has just gone on to a stellar career. But just, what a voice. An album that, if you don't know it, I suggest you do. Edgar Winter, Entrance. And this is Edgar Winter's first solo album before he went all keytar Frankenstein-y. This is a very interesting album on Epic. Very jazz, rock, blues based. He's playing a lot of instruments, a lot of saxophone, keyboard, of course, and his singing. But I love that they're just doing everything they can to take advantage of the albino qualities that the Winter Brothers exhibited. But very interesting album if you've not heard it. Tammy Wynette, Stand By Your Man. What a beast. What a beast of an album. What a beast of a song. And what a glorious voice, glorious country singer, Tammy Wynette. This may be the ultimate for the Thread, honestly. It's just so perfect. It's Richard and Linda Thompson. Now, there are two faces for Fred. And I know Fred digs Richard and Linda, Pour Down Like Silver. Great, great record. And man, just beautiful, beautiful imagery. Yeah, baby. This is Sinatra. leader of the Rat Pack, and an amazingly immense interpreter of the great popular song. Just, no matter what you think of Sinatra, the dude can sing, and there's just no denying. Just what a great cover. Another great singer. If you grew up in the 60s, yes, you saw the Jackie Gleason show with a character named Crazy Guggenheim, who was Frank Fontaine, who would sing just a kind of a tenor, Irish tenor type song every week on the Jackie Gleason show, and yeah, gotta love it. Last of the color photography, and with his eyes closed, Charles Mingus. I love this photograph. Blues and Roots on Atlantic, one of my all-time favorite Mingus albums. But yeah, he's getting into playing his bass here. All right, moving on to interpretations. Photographic artistic interpretations. We'll start still with the photograph, but just coloring it blue. This is a beautiful box set on Columbia called A Study in Frustration. The Fletcher Henderson story. Man, if you're not familiar with Fletcher Henderson, just an early genius of jazz. I mean, very advanced, his groups in the 20s, early 30s. Louis Armstrong and Coleman Hawkins were in his group at one point. Later on, when things kind of hit harder times, he was an arranger for Benny Goodman. And later, an arranger for him was a person named Sonny Blunt, who would become Sun Ra. But gorgeous, gorgeous, and just love the blue, the frustration. It really fits the title. I'm sure this has probably been shown. If I could only remember my name, David Crosby, great. Kind of psychedelic, almost ambient at times album, rock ambience, if you will. But the photograph with the sundown, the interpretation is just very cool. And then there he is again on the back. Now here you have Mike Bloomfield, and this is where they've taken a photograph and then did a little bit of brushwork and painting over it. And you get another portrait of Mike on the back. But Mike Bloomfield, when he was healthy and inspired, was just one of the more intense and searing blues guitar players. I mean, his solos were just, incredible stories. The story arc of his solos were amazing. Again, a bit of a tragic figure, but this is a beautiful compilation. Came up with Paul Butterfield and was founder of, God, my brain just farted. Somebody help me out. Electric Flag. Thank you. This is a Randy Weston album on CTI called Blue Moses, and what's cool here is that it opens up into this portrait here. CTI, interesting label where their covers are generally more interesting than the music. I love Randy Weston. This is an overproduced record. Spent a lot of time in Africa, and there's African influenced songs here, but a large band that's just it's just overdone. But why do I have it? Let me show you. That's why I keep it. I just dig the cover. It's awesome. You're going, what's that? Well, this is a variation of Lou Reed's Blue Mask, which is my absolute favorite Lou Reed album. And what this is a promotional, well, not really a promotional record. This is an radio interview, and it would go to a radio station to play and then have, promotional deal. Here's a little bit of interview with Lou Reed, and then they play the track. So it's kind of a cool, rare promotional piece. But we're in this high contrast zone. Of course, Syd Barrett with Opal, high contrast. Really cool. John Cage, where they've taken this photograph and done this high contrast and then this dot treatment. Just really awesome. This is on Columbia. This is Stravinsky. It's a Rite of Spring performed as a solo piano piece by Dick. I got to pronounce Dikron Atamian. Beautiful. If you like Rite of Spring, I really urge you to seek this out on RCA Red Seal. It's just really cool. This is from, I want to say 1980. Yeah, 1980. Early digital recording, but really cool interpretation of Rite of Spring. Some more high contrast, but adding artwork and color on top. King Sunny Ade and his African Beats Juju music, just a masterpiece. I know it's been shown before on it's on Island about 1981 or 2. Awesome African music, and just love that cover as well. Very similar. We have David S. Ware Quartet live in Vilnius. And they've taken the photograph and done this artwork on top of it. David S. Ware, just a very big, bold, avant-garde free tenor sax player. Died in the last couple years. Way too young. This is on the No Business label. Just gorgeous record. More interpretive portrait. Louis Armstrong, The Genius of Louis Armstrong, Volume 1, 1923 to 33. Man, if you're into jazz, I suggest you dig on some early Louis Armstrong. It's beautiful stuff. What a beautiful human being. And really set the stage for a lot of stuff. A true genius. More interpretive artwork. Lenny Bruce, the Berkeley Concert. This is a 2-record set that came out on the Fantasy. No, I'm sorry. Not Fantasy, that's another one. Bizarre. This was on Frank Zappa's label. So a little artistic interpretation with a dragonfly. Lenny Bruce. Otis Redding. I love this. Is where someone's taken newspaper and torn it up and created a portrait of Otis Redding. Best of Otis Redding on Atlantic. Just a gorgeous compilation. Not so much into compilations, but there are some that are just fantastic, this being one of them. And a couple by the same artist. We're interpreting the face now with masks. Ronald Shannon Jackson, the Decoding Society, Eye on You. This is on the About Time label in 1980. And then he followed it up just a few years later on Antilles. This, I want to say, is about 83, 84, somewhere in there. Barbecue Dog with this cool sort of corrugated cardboard mask. Well, that wraps it up, Fred. Thanks, man. Appreciate what you do. And just do it when you do, when you can. Keep it up. I'll try to do the same. I'm such a lame ass, but hey, I do it when I can. And it's the best I can do. Anyway, see you next time.